Welcome everyone once again. This is Sanjeev Datta with Cresco International and welcoming you all to the Predictive Analytics Roadmap with IBM SPSS. And once again, want to welcome all of you and thank you for your time today. What we're going to do is start off with a quick introduction and the reason why we are hosting this event. So Cresco International is an IBM business partner. We're based here in Dallas, Texas, and we service clients in the predictive space all over the country. We have put this thing together along with IBM, who would be joining us in a few minutes as well, because we saw this need for predictive analytics. We saw a lot of clients asking us about this, and a few months back we launched a new service that has gained a lot of inquiries and momentum, and we wanted to help in positioning this to you guys. And so what we're going to do is we're going to spend some time talking about the predictive analytics offering from IBM, how Cresco can help you with any questions around the software, how it works, how the licensing works, and then have IBM come and do a little bit of talking as well. And the idea behind this is today we want to make sure that you learn enough from this session that you feel confident whether you're looking to get predictive analytics in your organization or if you're planning on implementing a solution that you already have and how you can use this. A few things that we will be doing after this session is we will, upon request, give you access to an environment where you can go around and play with the SPSS product. And this will be at a no charge to you. It is our offering that we're giving to our clients. And so the idea behind this is you can start using the product, get a better idea of how this works, and have any questions, you can always call us or the folks at IBM about it. So as your local business partner, what we would like to do is we'd like to kick this off. Now I do have other presenters as well who will be joining us. So we've got Mike Heiser, who is from IBM, is from Cresco, and then we have, sorry Mike, Mike used to be at IBM. We also have Erica, Reuter, as well as Sam Whittaker, who are from IBM, and they will be joining us very, very, very soon as well. So with that, we wanted to make this a more of an informal type. And if you guys have any questions, we'll be more than happy to take your questions. Now you can raise your hand using the GoToWebinar product. And once we see your hand raised, we will give you a chance to speak, or you can post a question in the questions section. Okay, so with this, just very quickly make an introduction to Cresco's modeling as a service offering. And so as I mentioned, we're an IBM business partner, and we work with clients across not just on SPSS, but the entire analytics portfolio. And about a year and a half ago, we launched this MAS offering, which is modeling as a service. The idea behind it is very similar to a car. You wouldn't buy software without knowing what you're getting into. So this is your opportunity to test drive the software. And a few things that we help you with the product is that, for example, let's say you're in a situation where you have a set of data and you want to go the route of predictive analytics but just don't know how to go through that. Well, we have a few options in our offering. And one of the options is, we sign NDAs, you can give us your data, we can use our product and build you the solution and give you the result. Or when we show you the result and you feel like this is a good predictive model, we can hand over the entire model, including with the software, and give it to you, and you can start implementing it. A few things that you get out of this: there's no investment upfront at all. And you're test driving it, right? So you're seeing the results, you're seeing what your own data can produce for you. And when you start seeing what the data can produce for you, that's when you feel, okay, this is something that I can start using for my organization. Hey, I want to own the product. I want to start using it. I want to be trained in it furthermore, or I want to have other people within my organization start using this. So once again, the predictive analytics offering that we're doing through modeling as a service, we take your data, we do the modeling, or you could give us scrambled data as well. A lot of companies have done that. They give us scrambled data, whether it's customer information, customer analytics, and we can do the predictive capability moving forward. Okay. All right. So for those of you who are new to the advanced analytics, it is we've been seeing analytics all across for numerous years. They used to call it with different names, decision systems or business intelligence. The way I like to define analytics is not just visualization or a visualization product that helps you takes your data and makes it into a graphical representation. Your data should be more actionable. You should be able to be more proactive with looking at the results. And so there are a lot of studies that have been done using, Gartner as well, and has put IBM as the leader on the predictive analytics area. Now, when we talk about advanced analytics, I would take concepts such as statistics or descriptive predictive data, whether you use text analytics, you use simulations or optimization, and put that together along with your BI or your business intelligence to give you that query and reporting as well. So now you not only have the discoverable capability, you have reporting and querying capability, and you have the advanced analytics, so you can do predictive model. And once you can predict data looking on your historical capabilities, what you've been collecting as an organization over the last few years, now you can predict, but only once you can predict, you want the system to be able to give you some options as to how you can move forward. So that comes into products like CPlex, and a combination of SPSS and CPlex gives you that advanced analytics capability, and that's what we do exactly here. So moving forward, I wanted to go over some of this information here where, as I mentioned, this is a this is more of a capability, and the capability being, this is a maturity model. So I do have the prescriptive analytics, I've got my descriptive and my predictive. So where do I begin? This could be, looking at the slide, you're trying to figure out, okay, what is this and how do I start? And so the way like I just mentioned, you've got your historical data in your organization, you're writing reports against it. Now you want to be able to do maybe some text analytics to see what your clients are actually talking about, or capture social media attention and see what people are saying about events, products, launches, or anything else, so you can better yourself real time. And this is the descriptive analytics side. Now the predictive is you can take some of that data, you can infuse it with your organization's data. Let's say you have product data as well as now you're pulling social media and text analytics. Now you want to be able to see what this data can do for you, as well as what the system recommends to you. So this is when we start getting to the prescriptive analytics. Now, for those of you who haven't heard of CPlex or ILOG, ILOG, or CPLEX, these are IBM products within the analytics portfolio that help us get to that point. And so with that, I'm going to move on and start talking more into a little bit more depth into the how prescriptive analytics works, the predictive side. Now, SPSS is IBM's flagship product for the predictive analytics. And as we move into seeing how this will add value to our organization, now if you can see here, just by using analytics, there's a huge payoff in organizations that we've been able to provide today. And IBM has a study group called the IBV, which is a group that looks at different organizations, does a lot of studies. So the IBV is called the Institute of Business Value. And that's exactly what they do. They provide the business value to organizations. So if you're seeing over here, 69% of frontrunners created a significant positive impact on business outcomes using data and analytics in the past 3 years. 53% of those frontrunners have created a significant competitive advantage using data and analytics, and 60% of those front runners have created a significant impact, a positive impact on revenue using data and analytics for the past 3 years. I'll give you a very good example. So we have a client who has been looking at the predictive analytics piece for the past few months now, and I should say few months, maybe about 9 months or so. And they have been evaluating different forms of the predictive and looking at how this provide our ROI. And in the meantime, we service a similar kind of company in the same industry. Well, they made the decision faster. They used our modeling as a service offering. They were able to do some predictive analytics on their products as well as on social media data and how their product is being perceived, product launch is being perceived by people real time. They were to make some quick adjustments and improve the supply chain and so on. But the idea behind that is the competitive advantage that we are talking to this client for the last 9 months. They've kind of realized that they're not there yet, because today data will provide you all the value and is one of the most important things that will help an organization move forward because of the capabilities of the products as well as the capability of being able to capture this data and its availability. Okay, so just to give you a quick example, and I think Erica just joined. Erica, are you there? Can you hear me? Hey, Erica, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
So, Erica, thank you for joining. I was just going over these slides and making sure that we have enough time for your presentation as well. And so feel free to jump in and add. We discussed before you joined, this is going to be a much more informal than a regular webcast. So please feel free to give your inputs as well. So these are kind of the areas where predictive analytics is being used today. So it is used across various industries. I see many of you who have joined and those who will be listening to this recording as well. Erica, can you go on mute? There's some background noise. All right, and so many of these organizations today are using the predictive analytics. Mostly we see is for customer analytics. We also see some unique examples of how clients are using this more towards building better networks, supply chain networks, and looking at labor models and seeing what is the workforce going to look like in the future. Okay, so let me just click next here and just walk about how this is being used even in the field of education, in finance, in being used to prevent fraud, as well as in public safety for crime analysis as well. Now, there's a lot of this being used in human resources to figure out who our best employees are, how do we keep our employees, and how do we prevent them from leaving. So a product like SPSS can give you that information and tell you, using the models. Hey, Erica, can you hear me? Erica, hello. Okay, so yeah, so these models will help in delivering solutions. So you as a business know you input your variables, maybe variables for who our best employees are, when are they planning on leaving. Today we look at, if you're on LinkedIn, you can spend enough time on LinkedIn looking at someone's profile and start seeing their activity, and without using any technology, just using your common sense, figure out that this person is looking for jobs just based on their activity. So, using a product like SPSS within your organization, you can look at things like, distance to work, job satisfaction levels, and hierarchy, and things like that really help in building your model and making it more accurate. So how can we use, sorry, we have some background noise here. And it's I think someone needs to go on mute. So if you guys can just go on mute there. Okay, thank you. And so just coming back to the use cases, and if you're seeing over here on the screen, so you have the consumer insights where you can increase revenue by understanding the purchase decisions. You can also apply this towards human capital management, towards education, supply chain management, and process optimization. A very good example is Ottawa Hospital. So they capture the baseline response times to consult requests to reach goals of less than 15 minutes. So this gives them a 360-degree view of patient care. That also gives them the automatic escalation of inadequate responses to consult requests. Okay, so the business challenge was they wanted to seek, they wanted to treat every patient like a loved one, so they needed a way to sympathize and improve patient care procedures. Let me move on. So in crime prevention, I can hear myself. I think, Mike, are you on mute, or do you have to go mute? Or is it Erica, one of you? Okay, that's better. With crime prevention, we're seeing police departments and organizations worldwide have been using this to protect communities. In fact, we at Cresco are working with an organization called the Tactical Institute that uses the predictive capability models, and using those models, they are able to capture social media content and what people are talking about, certain events. We did a webinar. You can go out on our YouTube channel and watch that, but it is perceived as one of the best analytics, predictive analytics solution out there that looks at social media and prevents threats and frauds as well, and reports these crimes to police departments or federal agencies, depending on the nature of the crime. Even federal agencies, as I mentioned, police departments are using this. So the Memphis Police Department was able to see a 30% reduction in serious crime overall. In supply chain, you'll see that how data can help in predicting shortfalls in inventory and breakdowns in processes. We're using this today as an example to work with supply chain and retail companies to give them a better view of how labor force affects inventory and shipping times as well. So there are a lot of benefits to this, and the process optimization is also something, as I mentioned, CPLEX, a combination of CPLEX along with SPSS, which is your predictive analytics product, will give you a much more deeper insight than any other solution out there in the market today. So here are some examples of how predictive analytics is being used in action today. As you can see, 159% boost in average monthly rate of customers who return to shop compared to the previous year using this trucking operations, how they use predictive analytics. If you're an insurer, U.S. insurer, 22 million ROI is anticipated with 100% payback from fraud reduction, and many more. Even on the marketing front, if you look at this, 400% increase in expected total revenue over a 3-year period. So that gives you real reasons. But how do you get to that, right? Everyone talks about these ROIs, and everyone talks about how well we can, build these solutions. But this is a quick overview of what the product looks like. Now, it is called IBM SPSS Modeler. It is a modeling application, and that's why our offering, which is the modeling as a service, is where our consultants, our developers will build the model for you and hand over the model with your data, whether it is actual data or scrambled data, and give you the end results, right? So this is where you can get a comprehensive view of what your business will look like and the predictive results. Now, what you're looking at my screen here, and Erica can give us a deeper insight, but these are the different algorithms that you can apply towards your data. Okay, so I think at this point, maybe Erica, we can hand this over to you, and you can do the presentation. And just a reminder to everyone, based on your request, we will give you access to a demo environment where you can start using the product itself and start doing development and so on. Now, it's going to be limited basis, so it's going to be first come, first serve, first comes, first serve. But yeah, we plan on sending out emails upon your request. So you have to send us an email first based on your needs and length of time that you want this environment for. So that being said, Erica, are you still, can you hear me? I'm going to make Erica the presenter just in case maybe we can't hear her. So just bear with us till she takes controls of this webcast and gives us a quick overview there. I think she's taking controls. And Erica, it's up to you now. We can't hear you though.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Erica, we can hear you now.
Fantastic. I think I have an echo. One moment. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Erica.
Okay, I apologize. I have a bit of an echo. So what I am showing you here today is our example of how you can embed these analytics into something existing in your organization. What we find quite often is analysts work on these fantastic predictions, and they do a lot of work, they generate these reports, they show who's likely to do this or who's likely to do that, and we hand these predictions over to operations only to find that our operations individuals say, these are great reports, I really don't know what to do with them, or in real time, this is meaningless to me. I don't have time to read through a bunch of bar charts and graphs and things of that nature. So ideally, you would be able to go ahead and generate some predictive analytics and use that to go ahead and embed it inside an existing program. And that would allow you to go ahead and have people use things in real time, score things in real time, and customers who have left our company, and we let the computer go through and analyze that and figure out, well, of the people who left, do they have something in common? Do they have a common profile? Do they have common characteristics? Things of that nature. And once it's built that profile, it can say, okay, let's look now at our current customers and see how closely they align to that profile. How similar are they? And if they are 90% similar to the profile of individuals who've left the company, odds are they're going to leave the company as well. So we try to identify these people before there's an issue, and in real time, we're able to look at, all right, well, of the people of the past who have left, what could we have done that would have kept them here? What interventions could we have provided or have we provided that were successful? So we're looking here at a telco company, and if I click preview, I can see the first 10 records of what I've brought in to analyze. So we're looking at prior customers or current customers, and we're looking at some information on them, such as what region do they live in, how long have they been with the company, what is their age, their marital status, their income, some general demographic information, as well as how are they using the services of our company. So we give all this to the computer, and the computer goes through and it data mines, meaning it decides which of these are important, which of these are not, and it's only going to use statistically significant variables in building this model or this profile. So once we've brought the data in, we add what we call a type node, and that allows the computer to read all of the data, and all we have to tell the computer really is what we are using as our dependent variable or our target. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and look at which category do these customers fall into. And it's going to set that as my target. It's going to tell me, I could have picked churn, which ones have left the company. But right now I'm going to pick which category do they fall into so I can use that as part of my dashboard. Once I've told the computer that, hey, what do I want you to model on? What do I want you to build the profile around? I add a modeling node. I say, okay, now apply a statistical algorithm. Go ahead and analyze this and let me know what's going on. So we have, I think there's 28 out of the box that we provide you, and with the ability to use many, many more because we are open source compliant. So pretty much anything that's out there we can bring in. Now the thing about it is, for a lot of people who are not statisticians, that's quite intimidating. They don't want to use the wrong test or they don't know what to do. So we've added these auto nodes here. And if you use an auto node, an auto classifier, for example, the computer will go ahead and it will run every applicable algorithm that works well with your data. And it'll give you the top results. And it'll say, okay, these are the algorithms or the models that are going to work best. These are your results. This is your accuracy level. Go ahead and decide which one or which combination of ones you would like to use. So after I added this modeling node and I right-clicked and said run, it generated this little golden nugget, and that houses that model or that profile that we were speaking about. So I can go ahead and click and open that. And it's giving me right away, it's telling me, well, these are the things that are important. In this case, to decide which category a customer falls into, it seems like the similarities or the profile of these customers have a lot to do with their level of education, their employment, their address, believe it or not, so probably their region or city or something like that, and where they're residing. So it's doing all of these complex mathematical calculations behind the scene to give me this model or to give me this profile. And once it's done with that, I can actually use that data. I can operationalize it. And I've added a quick table on the end here. We'll go ahead and run that. And what this table does is customer by customer, it goes through and it gives me some predictions. So we had all this information about our customers up front, and it added some new fields at the end. So at the end, you can see it's added a prediction on which category the customer is likely to fall into. So this customer is likely to fall into category 4. This customer here also likely to fall into category 4. And then this is our confidence in that. So the computer is 50% confident that this customer is going to fall into category 4. And I think I have these sorted well because these are not the highest scores. So you're going to see ones with high scores, some with low scores. And as we go through, we're going to really focus on the higher scores and try to select the ones that are meaningful to us. And then again, we'll kind of go through and continue to tweak and continue to clean and strengthen this model so these confidence scores get a little bit higher. Now, my internet has not yet cooperated. So what we can do is send you out a nice example. I had it up earlier. You probably didn't get a chance to see it, but of how we embed that information into a model. So so you can actually use that in real time, and you can see how people are affected by what they're telling you. Call centers, for example, use this when they're on the phone with you and you're perhaps complaining about something or you're having an issue with service. They use this to see how serious your complaint is and also give suggestions for cross-sells, for upsells, for what might make you happy. You know, you might call in and say, you know, my cell service, I'm not really too happy about it, and the computer will recommend maybe a discount or maybe it'll recommend new equipment. It knows what's best for you. So another very quick example, again, pulling in a number of different data sources, looking at, for example, someone's gender and age, looking at their transaction history, whether or not they've left the company. We can merge everything together inside this tool. It's a very good ETL tool. So just merging on the ID number gives us one comprehensive record. So all these things that were separate before are now in one comprehensive master record. And again, we add this type node, and we add a modeling node, as I showed you before. And it's giving us our nice little prediction now of churn. So in that dashboard, we had more than one gauge, more than one idea of how customers are going to react, if they were likely to churn, which group they were fitting into, things of that nature. So this is powering another one of those. So age is a top predictor in this one, whether or not they're likely to leave the company, how they're using their local service, their long-distance service, that sort of thing. These are all characteristics that are weighing into the model. And again, when we look at this one and go ahead and run it, we're having some fields added to the end, and we can see again, this customer is likely to remain active, 68% confident in that prediction. These are likely to become inactive and to leave, 97% confident in those predictions. So that's going to give us some idea that maybe these 97% people are not worth a whole lot of intervention because they're pretty likely to go. So we might want to focus on these 66% people because maybe we can convert them. So at that point, we can use some prescriptive analytics and utilize that to try to make some recommendations and to try to keep them with our company. So with that, I will turn it back over to you, and I will go on mute for the time being in case there are any questions. And we did go over this very quickly, so if it's something that the idea appeals to you or interests you, of course, as always, we can do some follow-ups.
Yes, and Erica, thank you so much. And I just wanted to ask you, can you just shed some light on the entity analytics as well as the social media text analytics, because we get a lot of questions around those.
Yes, so entity analytics basically resolves the identity of individuals or of things. You might have a bunch of records. This is very common in banking, for example, where I may apply for a loan. And I may use by name Erica Reuter in my application with my date of birth. And then I might come back a few years later and maybe I've gotten married or divorced and my name is now Erica Smith. But it notices that my date of birth is very similar and it notices my address history is similar. So the computer is going to go through and resolve that and say, hey, they're the same person. You need to perhaps consider this as one record, look at the history holistically rather than thinking it's a new application or a new person. It understands things like Robert and Bob, for example, maybe the same person that understands name deviations. It understands things like if a date of birth is very similar but off by a month, or social security numbers are relatively similar but there might be a digit or two inverted. It can pick up on things like that. And then, I'm sorry, did you say social network analysis or social media?
Yes, social network.
Okay. So social network analysis is very different than people immediately think social media analysis, which is something we can do through text, but it's a separate concept. Social network analysis really looks at people or organizations, and it tries to figure out what's going on within the network, who is an influencer, what's the relationship amongst people, how does the network kind of work. It's not something that I often see utilized within this SPSS Modeler. I see it utilized in different ways more frequently, but it is available as a feature. Again, it's not something I work with quite a bit. You may be able to shed more light on social network analysis, but entity analytics is very powerful. It's very important to make sure that if we don't have a nice master names database or a nice master entity database, that we can go ahead and resolve a lot of these entities and make sure we are treating them as a single individual, if indeed they're not, and they're trying to represent themselves as a new person, either fraudulently or just due to clerical error.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Erica. I'm going to now open this up for a quick poll, and if you can see my screen, you should be provided with a question. If you guys can just input, the first question is, are you using predictive analytics today? And I see some of you are putting your responses in. So go ahead and let's take a minute or two before we can ask the next poll. So once again, the question is, are you using analytics, predictive analytics today? And the next question is going to be, for those of you who are, what is the time frame that you're planning on using predictive analytics? Just a few more minutes, we see the votes coming in. I'll give it 10 more seconds and then we can continue with our presentation. All right, so the outcome of the poll, if I can tell you guys, is that most of you are looking to use the predictive analytics in the first 6 months. Yeah, it looks like it for 6 months. And some of you are not sure exactly when you want to start using it. So there are various reasons why you're not sure, and we'll be more than happy to explain to you. You know, this 1 hour session is not enough. We do have another one beginning at 2 o'clock Central Time, where you might want to involve some more of your colleagues or your managers and have a much higher conversation around how we can help build that predictive analytics roadmap for you. And so what I have up here is just talking about data mining as such. Now we've looked at predictive analytics. Erica showed us the product and a quick model, but within the SPSS product, you can also do some data mining as well. Kind of what we mentioned about the entity analytics and text analytics. You can capture that data and you can integrate SPSS with other products in the IBM stack. So you could use SPSS to consume data or also push out data from after doing a lot of data mining and cleansing. So this talks about a methodology. What they call this methodology is CRISP-DM. And as you can see, it's a cross-industry standard process for data mining. Now this is, it doesn't depend just on, it's very neutral, I should say, to what kind of product that you're using. But as long as you get the concept correct, you understand that SPSS or predictive analytics is a discipline. You get the process that, whenever you're trying to go down the path of building predictive analytics models, you have to constantly refine your models. And as your business, we see this so many times when a company says, I want to get into predictive analytics. They know what they want, they know their targets, but business changes or other departments get involved, and now more variables get added. And so initially it's about a 2 to 3 iterative process to get your model to a place where you can actually start trusting what you're seeing from the output results. And coming back to our modeling as a service, I think I can send you some more information around that. I think our marketing team must have something on this webinar itself. But what you can get is you can see how this is adding value without you having to divulge into getting more complex. At least 20% of you who are not yet sure how you want to proceed with the predictive analytics roadmap. So these are some additional extended capabilities through R. A lot of clients also like to use R as a predictive analytics. It requires a lot more coding and more hands-on coding type of work. The nice thing about SPSS is you can actually pull that existing code that you might have and put it into SPSS as an integration to R. Okay, I know Erica spoke about this, about looking at text analytics and entity analytics, but I'll just talk about this very quickly. Give as an overall, within the text analytics, you can pull natural language as well as do sentiment analysis. As I mentioned, we have some clients who do that today, who go out and capture social media data and capture data from text that people have put in or any polls they've taken and pull that in and do decision making based on top of that. Entity analytics as well. This basically talks about if you have a Robert versus Bob, the same name, applied differently at different times, how do you combine that together? And then social media analytics is uncovering relationships and finding leaders out of what we can capture from social media. So with that, I have a few minutes left for questions, and we can open this up, or you guys can input your questions within the questions section of the webcast, and we'll be here to answer your questions. Now, some of the things that we will be doing, as I mentioned before, is we will be giving you an environment where you can start using the product, or you can contact us directly. We can start helping you with our modeling as a service offering. It is towards the end of the year. It is quarter end, so we do have additional incentives if you're looking to get predictive analytics in the next 0 to 6 months, and we can talk about some of those offerings as well. So I'm going to leave it up for questions for both Erica and I, and give it a few minutes till we start seeing some questions come in.